Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for January 10th. My name is Cindy and I'm delighted you're here. Before I start, I really want to extend my gratitude and appreciation for all of the amazing viewers and, of course, subscribers that I have. There's some new subscribers, so welcome to the Soulprint family. And as you know, my established ones, I simply adore you. All right. So, you guys have been amazing. I have received some really lovely donations, and I'm so grateful for them and always just humbled by them. Just truly humbled. So I thank you very much for those. The comments are brilliant, and the thumbs up are it's all appreciated. It's the reason that I continue to do this a few times a week. I enjoy connecting with you. I enjoy reading your witty comments and listening to your thoughts. One of the thoughts that you guys had last week was that my mic wasn't working very well, so I've replaced it with another mic. Um, I hesitate to get the table kind. I had one when I very first started, and I didn't like it very much. But if I have to keep the sound quality good, then I will do that. But let me know. Hopefully, this one is slightly better. Sound quality was really off on one of the videos last week. If you didn't see all the videos that I put out last week, there was the on the 6th of January, the anniversary of the insurrection. I put out a pendulum yes no, and the Friday morning, there was a video release that was a bit of a dive into the former First Family, dysfunctional though they may be. And of course, Saturday, my weekly crystal readings come out. So there's that. I also just want to mention that if you're looking for a private reading in the box below, in the description box below, there is an email address. Feel free to send me an email and I'll send you the information that you need. I'm currently booking last week of January into February. Now, a couple other things I want to just briefly touch on. So, if you guys have not found or come across a movie called Don't Look Up, I found it on Netflix. I don't know where else it might be in terms of distribution in other places, other countries. If you come across it, honestly, I'm telling you, it is so worth watching. So, so Meryl Streep, who of course we know the Donald called an overrated nothing actress, plays a president, a really stupid president who really likes red baseball caps. And the long and short of the movie, the premise of the movie is there is this comet that is coming straight for Earth. And um, she decides to listen to corporate sponsors who say, yeah, but you know what? If it actually doesn't completely obliterate the planet, there's going to be some really good minerals in there that we can mine and make billions and billions and trillions of dollars. So she's all in with, corporate America. Meanwhile, the scientists are going crazy and they're saying, just look up, listen to science, follow the facts, look in the damn sky. You can see this thing coming at us. To which the government creates a strategy that's called Don't Look Up. Don't believe what your eyes see you. It is such a funny, well done spoof on the Trump presidency that if you're looking for a little bit of relief and a few giggles, it's definitely worth watching. Also on HBO, I came across something yesterday called Agents of Chaos, and it was looking at sort of from the beginning, the whole Russia thing and how it evolved and moved forward. And I have to tell you, it almost brought back post-traumatic stress disorder because as they were going through it, you were hearing these names that kind of you've already just blocked from your mind because your brain can't absorb any more insanity. But it's really well done, the part of it I saw, and so that might also be something you want to take a look at. So if you guys don't watch a program on YouTube called Ring of Fire, it's sometimes really worth popping in to watch. It is a political commentary. The guy who does them, he doesn't strike you as having a real. in Florida. He doesn't strike you as sort of loving either party, but he honestly just despises lying hypocrites. So you can sort of see where things fall for him. Um, but I mentioned that because I came across a video of his that was just released like yesterday or whatever. Um, and he was talking about the fact that there's one new poll that has come out. It's only one, but it's a start. That only by a percentage point, but again, it's better than nothing. In a generic poll for 2022, 38% of Americans said that they will vote Democrat, as opposed to 37% of Americans who would rather see Republicans in there. So that was really interesting, because it feels like the mood is swinging. 2 months ago, Democrats were like underwater. So that was kind of a good thing. So it made me think about all of the spitting and hissing that is going on, within the right, on the right? I mean, McConnell is making no bones about the fact that Trump is a buffoon. His own sorry, excuse my throat. His own followers are getting really angry that he's not stepping up and he's not helping them. He's not paying their court costs. He's not anything. And more you keep hearing this refrain of, he told us to come. He told us to do this, and he's our president. He promised us he would be there for us. So that's going on. And then plus you have these different like players, right, who are sort of all going off on these sort of crazy loony tangents. And one person says that the pillow guy is an idiot, and then the pillow guy says somebody else is a goof, and then somebody else says Gates, but these are all on the right, and somebody else says, Gates is a fool, and somebody else, the Gates says so-and-so is doesn't know what he's talking about. So it feels a little bit probably like a Trump family get-together, if you get the drift. But it feels a little bit like the tension and the pressure is starting to get to them, and they could very well be imploding a little bit. So I want to take a look at the right versus the right. I'm going to do this broadly. I'm not going to try to drill down on any one specific thing, as much as I really want to look at the energy of what's going on there. So I have a question. Come on down. Okay, here we go. Just a couple more. Sorry, that was a kind of long intro, but there was just a bunch of stuff I kind of wanted to catch y'all up on. Okay, here we go. Right versus right. Right versus right. Right versus right. This really is one of those situations where a right and a right make a wrong. All right. Got the Hierophant to start. The Four of Wands, the Three of Wands, the Hermit. Interesting. And why are we not surprised that, of course, the Fool shows up? Because, as you all know, that's one of my cards for that guy. Okay. And very often, Mitch McConnell is my King of Cups. So let's just take a look at what this is talking about right now. It's talking about the Hierophant in this case really represents almost like the throne of power. Okay. So that is, in terms of political, that is, and in terms of the right, that would be former president, that would be minority speaker of the Senate, and I guess to some degree it would be, oh good Lord, whatever that guy's name is with the house guy who doesn't have a spine. So what you have is, and this is really telling, this Hierophant card is very symbolic. It feels as if you have people coming to the leaders and saying, what are we going to do? What's going on? things are starting to blow up all over the place. So you have the extreme right wing people who are so dug in this fantasy and these lies that it's become unhinged. It's so out of control. They're not even making sense anymore, and nobody doesn't seem to care that they aren't making any sense. And so there is what's going on within the Republican Party is they're starting to feel the ice beneath their feet crack, okay? Because their, leader is losing it. He's just simply losing it. He's got all this stuff coming at him, and he's not coping, right? I mean, after that Biden speech on the 6th, which was brilliant, by the way, Trump issues this sort of memo thing that he sends out because nobody will allow him on social media. And it was just like a deranged person ranting about the things that they've been ranting about for a year. And, it's all lies and none of it makes sense. And what's happening, you see people are getting charged with more and more serious crimes. There was a mom, I don't know if you caught it, and I don't know where she's from, I don't know what her name is, but there was a mother who took, I believe it was her 13-year-old son with her to the rally on January 6th in Washington, and apparently she received 3 months prison time for that. I mean, come on, anyways. So the sentences are getting more and more serious. People, even the most unobservant or unwillingly observant people, are starting to recognize the fact that they are climbing slowly and slowly up the ladder. They're going for more and more, the bigger crimes, the more serious crimes. And, Garland made it really, really clear, as did Biden, that whomever had a part in this is not going to go unpunished. So that is starting to actually rattle some of these people, because I think for a long time there was sort of a concern about, nobody was really going to come after them with claws out because they didn't really want to do that much political damage within the country. They wanted to kind of allow the politicians to keep playing their political games. That is shifting. That attitude is shifting and moving. And so the people on the right, particularly those who have been particularly extreme, are really, really starting to feel like things are slipping away from them. Ron Johnson, speaking of which, came across my newsfeed this morning. Apparently, Ron Johnson is going to go for re-election. Like, my God, how old is he? He has to be older than dirt, that guy. I swear to God. And he stopped making sense like a really long time ago. He's right up there with Grassley, whatever his name is. So, I digress. So, obviously, I'm a bit in a feisty mood today. So, what you have, just, they did this sort of wait and see thing, wait and see, wait and see. Well, unfortunately, what they're waiting and seeing is that things are not going well for them. Things are starting to crumble. And, they're really starting to question the partnership that they have, the bed partners, if you will, that they've slept with and they've jumped into bed with, because they're starting to realize that the ground under them is starting to, as I said, crack. It actually feels more a bit like an earthquake, actually, as opposed to just ice cracking. But so some of them are starting to do some, I wouldn't go so far as to say soul searching, because over the last 5 years, I've actually started to question whether some of them even have a nodding acquaintance with their own soul, because they're so preoccupied with power and greed and et cetera, et cetera. But some of them are. And what they're looking at now is ways to kind of extract themselves a little bit, but not look like they're extracting themselves. And that's not going to work, because the reality is that it doesn't matter what tricks they play. It doesn't matter what games they play. First of all, he the former guy, is unhinged. And so you can do or say anything or nothing. If he gets it in his head that you're going to be attacked, he's going to attack you. And again, this is somebody who doesn't care, right? He'll say anything insulting, belligerent, cruel, callous to whoever he wants, because let's face it, it's part of his trademark. He was allowed to get away with it. But there we have the women are starting to line up, right? And they're saying, no, no, no. You're going to be held accountable. Somebody commented, and I actually really liked it because there's for a long time now there's been this sort of ongoing kind of guessing game about who is the woman who brings him down. And I myself have always said it is not a singular woman; it's going to be several. And one of the commenters said that she's always viewed that woman as Lady Justice, and I really like that because honestly, whether it is symbolic or whether it is literal females, the end result is the same. It's coming for him, and more he gets tangled up, and more there isn't a way out. This is, oh my goodness. Okay, so what you've got now, okay, January, February, March, you are going to see more and more secrets coming out. The committee who's investigating, they are going to be doing a lot of those talking subpoenas that we all get to hear about. So that's awesome. Um, there's going to be more things coming out from in other investigations. So whether that is, New York City, New York State, whether it's Georgia, who from my understanding is still investigating what the heck went on there. Apparently there's something like 20 some odd lawsuits that Trump currently has on his plate. So more and more and more is going to come out. And the more that comes out, the more frenetic the energy is going to come. Unfortunately, the thing is with the frenetic energy, you have a sense of frenzied, irresponsible, reacting without thinking. And of course, that's a stock and trade for goodness sake. So you're going to see a lot more of that energy. And it really feels like, as more and more people go, hey, wait a minute, you know what? This election wasn't stolen. Okay. They can't find any proof of it. What is it? Arizona just recently shut the whole thing down and said nothing was there. It's a big nothing. There was no um, stolen election enough, shut it down. So more and more, the truth is starting to come out. And even people who were reluctant are starting to maybe hear what they didn't want to hear 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago. Not all of them. There's always going to be that 20 some odd percent who absolutely think Yahoo is the cat's meow. But you can watch and wait because you're going to see the right, as we sort of recognize it and know it right now, really, really start to fall down because all of it was built on a lie, a huge lie. And because of that, it had no firm foundation. The only thing that held it up was the fact that this one wouldn't keep quiet. And because he wouldn't keep quiet, all of, the people that follow along behind his butt also wouldn't keep quiet. But more and more truth comes out. And the average person is starting to wake up a little bit and go, something isn't right here. This doesn't make sense. So there's going to be trouble coming, and you're going to see an intensifying of the right versus right. This guy yelling at this guy, and that guy yelling at that guy, and et cetera, because nobody feels quite as safe. They don't feel quite as cocky. They don't feel quite as powerful as they did even a few months ago, because the tides are finally turning, and they're not turning in their favor. And they're starting to recognize that this is a slippery slope they've gone down, and maybe there's not actually a way to put on the brakes. More information is going to come out about money, about donations, about money that was funneled this way and funneled that way, and that also is not going to look good. There's also, I'm getting energetically, there's also going to be some more information that comes out about um, the fundraising and how it was done, and more importantly, where some of that money got funneled. And that actually, I see, could actually cause a few people to get, right whipped up, because they're actually going to rightly feel that they were sort of bullied into donating. The money was stolen from them. It wasn't used for what they anticipated it was going to be used for. And again, you're always going to have that, whatever it is, 20 odd percent of people who don't care. They're not going to look or listen, um, because they are stuck in their belief system, and that's all there is to it. And frankly, don't waste your breath, because it's exhausting. But as this news starts to come out, the Republicans writ large are going to actually really start to see um, a falling away. There's going to be a lot of sadness over the path that they have walked. Does every one of them get wiped out? No. But the party and its followers appear ready to start to take a bit of a hit. And the law is coming after them, and Biden's not letting up, and Biden's administration is not letting up. Excuse me, because they are determined to come out ahead on this thing. And there's not a good reason to think that they won't. The country as a whole is putting a lot of faith in the Biden administration, in Garland, and there's so many mixed feelings about him. But but be that as it may, there is still a lot of faith being put into the government, in terms of what they're doing here, in terms of investigating, in terms of justice, etc. And so it's important to remember that sometimes it takes time, but this is not something minor. This is not, somebody went into Nixon's office late at night and said, listen, the party's not behind you, and he bowed out gracefully. This is people who have completely lost moral compass, people who have completely, like I said, no longer even have a passing acquaintance with their soul, who are really the trouble is starting to catch up to them. A long time ago, many of you who've been with me for a while will remember that one of those first videos that came out that said, death by 1,000 cuts. That's going to define Trump as this thing goes down. Well, you know what? I'm starting to think that those 1,000 cuts are going to hit a few other people along the way, and they all may end up with their own 1,000 cuts. It just feels like the energy and the tide is shifting and changing. It feels very much, as we go through January, almost like there's going to be a bit of a settling in. It feels like people are going to be less interested in listening to the same old crap, and more interested in listening to the new information that's going to be coming out. And that, whether that is about, the King of Mar-a-Lago, whether that is leaders of the Republican Party, whether that is big players within the Republican Party, whether it is, the Mark Meadows or the DeSantis or the Abbotts or the whoever else, more and more people are going to go, you know what? They're not telling us the straight goods here. And maybe it's time we started listening and paying attention to what's going on. So there's going to be that going on. So it's going to be a really interesting next couple of months. I think just in terms of watching what is going on the Republican side of the equation, because energetically, it's the tower. The tower has come, and death is following the tower. So not only is this thing going to crash and implode, but they're going to have to sort of dust themselves off and rebuild in something that is not quite so outrageously out there. It's a good sign that more and more people are starting to think, you know what, we need to keep the Democrats not only in office, but we need to give them more power in the midterms to get some of this stuff done. Because this is the thing, you know, the Republicans can be as whatever the name is as they want. The reality is that there are massive, massive numbers of people within the United States who want Build Back Better, who want those voting rights passed, who want these situations dealt with and moved forward on. And the Republicans are just looking like flat obstructionists. They're not looking like they're trying to negotiate or work together or find a consensus. They just say no to everything. And so there's that. Okay, I'm just going to take a couple minutes. I just want to ask a couple of questions from my pendulum. Thank you for those who pull out their pendulums and ask the questions along. And it's interesting to know that your pendulum will react to my voice. The other thing I just want to clarify for people is very often when I start to ask a question, I sort of ramble and I'll go, okay, well, because of this is going on and that is going on, and because of this is my question. I do that so that we are all on the same page. They know what I'm talking about, but it's so that you can understand some of the background to why I'm asking a question a certain way or looking at a certain situation. Now, unless I am having interesting dreams, I am positive that a few weeks ago, Biden came out and said he absolutely was running again in 2024. So let's start there. Let's double check. At this point, okay, for those of you who are brand new, side to side, it's been ready, the pendulum is ready to talk. Show me yes. It shifts into a back and forth motion. Show me no. There we go. Also, for those of you that wonder, you know, a lot of people use pendulums and they're like, well, it's my higher self. That's where I'm getting the information from. Um, that's not where I get my information come. I go straight to the divine. So when I'm asking questions, I'm not asking my higher self. I'm asking, unless I'm asking for something for me, right? Should I eat this or that? Is that a better direction to go or that? That's my higher self, usually. But when I'm asking this kind of thing, I'm going straight to source. I'm going to the same place that I get my intuition from and I get the information and the downloads from. Just so you know. Okay, and that doesn't make it foul-proof. No pendulum is ever going to be 100%. Here we go. Okay, so let's start with Biden. At this point, is Biden preparing and seriously committed to running for president again in 2024? Yes. Okay, so then the next question is, if he runs again, is Kamala Harris going to be his vice president? All right, so that's a yes. Now, I'm inclined to ask, is there another position or post that Kamala Harris would be more interested in stepping into? No. Are Do Biden and Harris have a good working relationship? Yes. It doesn't strike me as unusual that there are these sort of stories that come out about her and her staff and whatever, because let's face it, she is a woman of color in a high position, second highest in the land. There's a lot of men out there who are not going to like that. And so what do? They attack. Mitch McConnell, is he still going to be around come the 2024 election cycle? Is he going to be around? Is he going to be in politics? No. Okay. Um, is is Georgia going to continue to um, bring in more blue energy, more Democratic power? Are they going to sort of stay blue during the midterms as to the best? Yes. Okay. And Florida and Texas, let's just take a quick peek at those. Is Florida likely, and let me say it this way, is the stronghold of red in Florida likely to be diminished as we go into 2022 and 2024 elections? Yeah. And is the same thing likely to happen in Texas? Is Texas also going to find that the independents and the Democrats are starting to pull far more weight? Yes. And just because is the Build Back Better Act, sorry, is some variation of the Voting Rights Act going to be able to move through so that some of the nonsense that's, yeah, look at that, really, really strong yes. So that energy continues to build. It's very interesting, right, sort of before Christmas, there really was, all of a sudden the conversation shifted and it really started focusing on the voting rights. And that's, I think, where you're going to see the concentration of energy for the next few months. Okay, thank you so, so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again later in the week. Until next time, take care and be well. We'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.